We want to thank God for President JMB's stewardship of our country. We would also like to thank the President for selecting a very high-performing team at the National Port Authority. Let me start with why we are here today. I would like to talk about progress we've made over the last 5 months. And I would also like to be very frank with you and talk about challenges that we're having. Today, June 25th, 2024, in just about 5 months, you got to check here? The National Port Authority will contribute $2 million United States dollars to the government of Liberia general revenue account. To put that in context, in 6 years of our former landlord, President Weah administration, they made a total contribution in 6 years of $4 million. In 5 months, we'll be able to pay half of that. We are also automating the ports and digitizing what's going on at the National Port Authority. You should be here and get data, live data coming out of Buchanan and Sano and Harper, Maryland County. We've been regular in paying our retirement benefit to our employees. We have electrified the port 24 hours a day. We've installed nighttime navigation, 24-hour nighttime navigational aid that aid vessel coming into the port and out 24 hours. Before, a vessel will come in and berth and discharge, that vessel has to wait. Once it's after 7 p.m., the vessel has to wait for the next day about 6 in the morning to start sailing. And that wasn't progressive for our country at all. We've done a comprehensive credential auditing of our payroll. We started manual payroll last month, and the results are staggering that we'll be sharing with the country very soon. We've automated our access pass system, thus generating additional revenue for the port. Before it was manual. Anybody can you get somebody Sony on the side, you enter the port. That's not happening anymore at NPA. Bear with me for a second there. For the first time in our country history, at the National Port Authority, we were able to receive an expedition crew vessel coming in with over 120 tourists on board. While it's fair to talk about our progress, it's also fair to talk about challenges that we're having. And those challenges go back pre-war to after the war. We've never made significant capital investment in our infrastructure, starting with the ports. In Monrovia here, 95% of our country's GDP go through the port of Monrovia. If you expect to receive 95% of everything that comes in the country, it's fair to say the government should make investments in our infrastructure. We haven't done that. We'll be going back to the legislature and to the executive for some redress. We are currently negotiating a severance benefit payment for our former board members. We are negotiating marine services with APM terminal that expired last year, and the previous government did not extend it. Ongoing discussion there right now. 2 weeks ago, there was an incident in Buchanan. One of our staff was beaten. We believe that incident was politically motivated. The elections are over, like the president said. He's president for everybody. There's no UP, NPA. There's no CDC NPA. There's no LP NPA. We are all Liberians, and if you work for the National Port Authority, we don't believe that you should be a witch hunter. So that situation is being investigated fully, and we will take some actions based on the recommendation from that investigation. CTN, we ain't talk about CTN yet. GTMS and CTN, when we came in, as a port user myself, as a business person coming in, we complained a lot about GTMS and CTN. When we got in, the goal was to understand our product and the benefit to the country. What we did was, since we were a bunch of new people, we solicited these advisory services of few transactional advisors who called an accounting firm and also a consulting firm to look at that agreement and advise us on what to do. It's fair to say that we have a draft on our decks that will be going over the next several days. The legislature launched launch an investigation of that. So we don't want to preempt what the legislature is going to recommend. We'll wait for that recommendation, which I believe will order us to give them, to review that. We've done that review. We have the draft, but we are not going to preempt what they will do. After that, their recommendations, we will come to the country with what we think should happen on that front. We'll make that available to the Chief Executive, His Excellency President Joseph Yuma Parker, for signature and so forth. We will also, over the next several weeks, launch visitations to all of our other ports. We've been to Buchanan. We are taking our boat back to Buchanan. We'll go to Sano, and we'll go to Harper, Maryland County. So those are some of the challenges we're having. I think I will stop here and take some questions. Thank you very much.
The $2 million contribution to the national budget, you care to tell us the source of the money, how you generated the money over the 5 years, 5 months period?
As we speak, business people are also using water transportation to the southeast, and you cannot have 2 vessels docking at that port at the same time. So I get to know what's your plan to have that area drained. Thank you.
My name is Pastor Johnson, article for OPFM. And you mentioned about people receiving retirement benefit from the institution. You care to tell us how many persons benefited so far?
Let's start with the first question, hiring and firing. To speak about hiring, let's go back 6 years. When the former MD Bill Torway took over the National Port Authority, we had about 449 employees total. 449 employees, including both contractors and regular employees. Monthly salary was about $229,000 monthly. By the end of last year, the total employees at the port ballooned to over 2,000. 2,000. I mean, inflating that payroll cost to about more than $800,000 a month. So what we've done is, you can tell that most of those hiring were politically motivated. They brought people to vote for them. So for us to be efficient, we needed to hire some people and to also let go of some people. And we'll also let go of some people because, like I said the last time, some executive financial malpractices and administrative reasons. And once our audit is concluded, we'll be more than happy to tell the Liberian people exactly the details of those audits. The sources of $2 million, the $2 million. So in business, the National Port Authority is a state-owned enterprise. It's a business institution. You receive money, you manage your expenses, and you set something aside. At the end of the day, depending on what happens, you might call it a profit. That whatever we set aside, in 5 months, we have cash over $6 million. We are going to be making some significant investments in our infrastructure, in our technology. So we said, okay, well, with that $6 million cash, the government is struggling. We need to build our road. You can't fly from here to the port without going through water. If you don't have an SUV, your engine will probably be messed up with the amount of water on the road. So it's fair to say, let's give the government $2 million right now. We want to put all our money there at the end of the year, or we'll take it and use it. So those are the sources. So the sources is from all the pool user fees, our concession fee from APM, and the warehouses you see over there. Those people pay us money. The money to put aside when we came in, we close up the revenue leakages, we streamline expenses that got us to where we are today. That's the second question. The Port of Harper, that's a very, very good question. Who asked that question? Yeah. Your name, sir? George Momo, very good question. So Harper, Maryland, interesting. The depth of that port is about 5 meters deep. And for a normal port, from the research we've done, if you want to dock a vessel, a bigger vessel, or there has to be about more than 10 feet. A bigger vessel cannot go there. So you have barges from Monrovia leaving, going to Buchanan, or from Buchanan leaving, going to the southeast. During the rainy season, with the challenges we've had about road, those ports are inaccessible. I mean, that part of the country is inaccessible by road. So for us, We've been approached by the Ivorian people. The last administration at the National Port Authority were approached by the Ivorian government, by the port of St. Pedro in the Ivory Coast. The goal was they've been having a lot of overflow vessels in our port, so they reached out to the Liberian government through the National Port Authority and say, hey, why don't you invest in your port so that instead of vessels hanging on our international water for months, we can direct some of that traffic water so you guys can make some money. We're not there yet, but we are going to come back to the national government for assistance. We are going to reach out to international business partners and to investors to come and help us make that port viable. It's one of the most beautiful ports we have in our country, so I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you. Retirement benefits, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but whoever retired from the NPA have been receiving retirement benefits will regularize that. I think that's the answer. If you want further detail, we'll give you raw numbers when I get back to the office. Thank you. They did $4 million. So in 5 months, so what we're saying to our government or to the legislature, if you guys make the right investments in the port, trust me, we can times it by 5, by 10, eventually in the next 2 to 5 years. That's our strategic vision for the port over the next couple of years. Under the stewardship of His Excellency President JMB, NPA will not only go back to pre-war status. We are trying to make NPA the MRO port. Thank you.